Have you ever wanted something so badly that you spent months, or even years, obsessing over it? You visualized the outcome, mapped out the steps, and finally found the courage to start. But just as you began making real progress, you stopped without any real obstacle. You watched your opportunity dissolve, and the strangest part wasn't the failure. The strangest part was the quiet sense of relief that followed. Maybe you stayed up too late the night before a crucial interview. Maybe you picked a fight with someone who truly cared about you. Or perhaps you just scrolled through your phone while the deadline you needed to meet slipped away. You are not fighting the world. You are fighting the enemy you see in the mirror every single day. If this sounds painfully familiar, you need to know something critical. You are certainly not alone. Most people carry a quiet shame about these destructive patterns, believing they lack discipline, willpower, or fundamental drive. They label themselves as lazy or unmotivated. But this self-destructive cycle is not a character flaw or a moral failing. It is a highly predictable, deeply ingrained defense mechanism. Your brain is not malfunctioning when it ruins your progress. In a twisted, counterproductive way, it is actually trying to protect you. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do. In psychology, this behavioral loop is known as self-sabotage. It is the unconscious act of creating barriers that prevent you from reaching your stated goals. This phenomenon operates in the shadows, creating a profound disconnect between what you consciously desire and what you subconsciously execute. Every act of self-sabotage is essentially a brutal conflict between two competing versions of your identity. One is the self that wants to expand, grow, and experience new heights of achievement. The other is the self that desperately wants to remain safe, secure, and hidden from the unpredictable forces of the outside world. To understand why this happens, we have to look at how the human mind evaluates risk. Your brain is an ancient survival machine, hardwired to prioritize predictability over potential. When you move toward a meaningful goal, you are stepping out of your established baseline and entering unknown territory. The brain perceives this unfamiliarity as a biological threat. Consequently, the fear of rejection, judgment, embarrassment, and disappointment disguises itself as seemingly rational behaviors. We call these disguises procrastination, perfectionism, indecision, or avoidance. By delaying an action until the last minute, you give yourself a built-in excuse. If you fail, it wasn't because you weren't good enough. It was simply because you didn't have enough time. Perfectionism operates the same way by setting impossible standards, ensuring that a project is never truly finished or judged. Self-sabotage creates an incredibly powerful illusion of control. If we fail on our own terms, by our own hand, we control the narrative. We never have to endure the devastating vulnerability of giving our absolute best and discovering that it still might not be enough. We choose an engineered failure to avoid an unpredictable defeat. This brings us to a truth that most people completely overlook. We are often told that people self-sabotage because they have a deep-seated fear of failure. But the hidden reality is far more complex and often counterintuitive. We do not always fear failure. Often we are absolutely terrified of success. Success is heavy because it carries new responsibilities, higher expectations, and the terrifying pressure to maintain that elevated level of performance. If you succeed, people will expect more from you, meaning you have further to fall. Your mind recognizes this burden and realizes that moving forward destroys the old, comfortable reality. We unconsciously protect ourselves from the immense risks that our own goals require. The danger of this pattern is that it compounds over time. If left unchecked, self-sabotage transforms from an occasional habit into an entire identity. You begin to expect your own betrayal, and you stop trusting your own promises. As the years pass, this chronic avoidance drastically shrinks your world. The mind consistently chooses familiar pain over unfamiliar possibility, repeatedly convincing you that comfort is the exact same thing as safety. Eventually, you are left stranded in a sterile, static life. You become haunted by the crushing weight of your own unfulfilled potential. This vicious cycle does not have to be your permanent reality. The architecture of your mind can be rewired, but it requires a strategic disruption. How exactly do you stop fighting yourself and finally disarm this internal enemy? Breaking the cycle of self-sabotage requires observation rather than brute force. You must conduct a pattern audit to document the exact moments when you hit the brakes. Do you stall when a project is 90% complete? Or isolate yourself immediately after a successful social interaction? Identify your specific trigger points so you can anticipate the urge to sabotage before it takes over. Second, practice micro-commitments, because the brain panics when faced with massive, sudden shifts in reality. Bypass this alarm system by making your actions ridiculously small. If you are avoiding writing a book, commit to opening the document and typing a single sentence. If you are avoiding exercise, just put on your shoes. Lower the barrier to entry until the brain no longer registers the action as a threat. Third, separate your identity from your output. Much of self-sabotage stems from tying your fundamental worth as a human being to the success or failure of your endeavors. When you stop viewing a failed project as proof that you are a failure, the stakes lower dramatically. Action becomes pure data collection, rather than a final judgment on your soul. Finally, learn to tolerate the discomfort of things going well. When you experience a win, sit with the anxiety that follows without seeking a distraction. Do not immediately pick a fight or abandon a good habit, just to return to your familiar baseline of chaos. The most dangerous enemy in your life is not the one trying to stop you from the outside. It is the one convincing you to stop yourself from within. But recognize that this enemy is actually a frightened inner guardian, trapped in an outdated survival mode. Growth is not about going to war with this part of yourself. True growth is about outgrowing the need for its protection, realizing you are strong enough to handle life. You have survived every failure you have ever experienced. You are completely capable of surviving your success too. The next time you feel the urge to pull away, take one step forward instead.